Good morning everyone, welcome to my kitchen. For those of you that are new, my name's Janice and I'm a Thermomix consultant. So today I'm making cinnamon scrolls. Now I've been toying with the idea of trying to do a sourdough discard cinnamon scroll. When I make a cinnamon scroll, I like to use a nice soft sweet dough. And I've looked at lots of recipes, but I haven't found any that I liked. Then recently I made, or not recently, like in the last 12 months, I made the sourdough starter discard cinnamon raisin bread, and it was delicious. So what I did last time is I used this dough recipe to make the cinnamon scrolls, and they were absolutely delicious. So I thought we would do it together today because I want to make some for my freezer. I like to make the cinnamon scrolls, put cream cheese icing on them, freeze them, and then pull them out. And they defrost back to room temperature. If you freeze them like straight away, like once they're cool and you've iced them, if you freeze them, and then I just pop them in a Ziploc bag or a container. I like doing them individually because they don't get freezer burn. But anyway, so those of you that have been watching my videos for a while know that I love doing cooking ahead and freezing stuff. So this is one of the ones that I like to do. So right, let's just jump in, get going, and we'll start making the dough. Now we want 6 ounce. So this is a UK recipe, so it's in pounds and ounces, and we're going to start off with 6 ounces of water. So if you're using a recipe on Cookie Do, if my default weight, pounds and ounces or grams, my default is grams. But if I'm using a recipe which is written in pounds and ounces, my Thermomix will automatically recognise that, and we will be weighing in pounds and ounces. So I don't know that I tried to explain that, but maybe I didn't. So it does it itself. You don't have to do anything. You set your weights to the default weight that you want. Let's go back. We'll go to the beginning. If we go into our little menu bar and we go into our settings, if you scroll down, you can pick your system of measurement. Now I've got it set to metric, or you can, and metric is grams and then degrees Celsius. Imperial is ounces and degrees Fahrenheit. So I've got mine automatically set to, my default setting is grams and Celsius, but this recipe is in ounces, so the Thermomix recognises that, and that's where our scales are weighing in. I hope that made sense. 6 ounces. Right here. 1 ounce of sugar. So I should do this. These are the rose gold measuring spoons that came from the mix shop, and they actually come apart quite easily. So usually I've started using these since I've lost my teaspoon measure out of my favourite set. So when I'm cooking, I usually pull them all apart and then clip them all back together once they're washed and dried. But I haven't started, I've only just started cooking this morning, so. Okay, so 1 packet of active dry yeast, or 2 1/4 teaspoons. Okay. Now I'm just tipping that down the side so it doesn't end up sitting on top of my blade, because then it doesn't come in contact with the liquid and it doesn't activate properly. So I'll just show you what that looks like. So I find it doesn't matter if you get it on the blades, it's just if you get it on the knob on top of the blades. Rightio. Now we're going to put the lid on and we'll give that a little warm up. 3 minutes, 100 degrees, and that's Fahrenheit, not Celsius. On speed 1. Rightio. I will be back. So let's take a look at that now. And then we're going to add the flour. Just wet the sides a bit with it. Okay. So it says to use all-purpose flour. Now, you can use either plain flour or baker's flour. Today I am going to use baker's flour just because I have been using plain flour and I want to see what difference it is. I think your baker's flour's got a slightly higher protein content. 16 ounces. And now I'm going to add, this is not in the recipe, but I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of this bread improver. Four and a half ounces of sourdough starter discard. Now I'm about to feed my discard. I've pulled it out of the fridge early this morning and just let it bubble up a bit. But I'm going to feed this now. So this is my discard. And I'm just going to discard, was it 4.5 ounces? And then I'll feed what's left. Okay. 1 large egg. So we are on a bit of a egg shortage here in Queensland at the moment. They're like gold. Okay, 2.5 ounces of unsalted butter at room temperature. Oops. There we go. half a teaspoon of salt. And now we're going to knead it up. So we're going to knead that for 3 minutes. So my advice is, if you are using the knead function in your Thermomix, is stay with your Thermomix. Don't step away. Just stay with it because it can get quite bouncy. So especially once the dough starts to come together. So it says while that's kneading, grease a large bowl and a loaf pan with unsalted butter and set aside. So I've got one of my rose gold baking trays with the oven tray liner, which is what I'm going to do the scrolls in. But I'm going to, instead of putting my dough in a bowl, I'm just going to wrap it in my Thermomix. So I'll be back once this finishes kneading. Kneading's finished, and now we're going to we'll tip the dough out. So what you can do is just tip the bowl upside down. It might come out, but see, there's still stuff in there. So if we go like that and we allow the blade to fall through, and because it's all caught up in the dough, it'll fall through quite slowly, and then it all comes out. So I don't know if you can see, my bowl needs an egg and lemon wash. I've been going to do it for a couple of weeks now, but so then I'll just pull this off here. Okay. So we're just going to knead this up. So I've only got the tiniest bit of flour on this mat. I'm just going to shape it, then we'll set this aside to prove. So while that's proving, what we're going to do is we're going to make the cinnamon filling. Okay, I wasn't quite organised. So that's going to take 1 or 2 hours to rise and double in size. But anyway, so let's keep going. We're going to place a small bowl on the mixing bowl lid. So, I'm not quite following the recipe, and I had momentarily forgotten that. So it says 3 ounces of sugar, and I'm going to use brown sugar. Okay, perfect. 2 teaspoons of all-purpose flour. So once again, I'm sitting here with this baker's flour, so that's what I'm using. Two teaspoons of ground cinnamon. And then we're going to add some butter. So what we can do here is we can go here. I don't know how much I'm adding, because I usually just add in a couple of tablespoons, but I reckon maybe that much. Let's have a quick look in there, because I just want to make it so that like it's creamy and it spreads. It just gives you a nice, I like the how it makes the filling in the, so that's 1 ounce. So this is a change to the recipe. And the other thing I did is I used brown sugar, not white sugar. Now we're going to, if we go to the home screen, and we'll just give that, that's speed 3. Okay, that's 10 seconds. Let's see what it looks like. So I am going to give it, how much was that I added? I'm going to do the same again. Okay, we're going to go here to scales. There you go. That'll do. And now let's do it on speed 4. And I just want it to be a nice spreadable consistency. I don't want it, super buttery, just so that it all sticks together and spreads like that. Okay. Now I'm going to transfer that into a little, let's go back to this recipe. And now we'll leave that now. We'll put this in another bowl and we'll leave that now until our bread rises. So that's going to take us a couple of hours. So this is risen up beautifully, and we're up to the next step. So this is one of my rose gold baking trays with the oven liner, and this is the one I do my cinnamon scrolls in. I've been gradually working my way through all my baking trays and replacing them with these new rose gold ones, and I absolutely love them. Righty, so now what we've got to do is we've got to roll out into, now I'm not going to knead this, I'm just going to pull it out into a long rectangle. Now, we're not actually paying any attention to that because I'm now going to make cinnamon scrolls. So the sourdough raisin bread, and I'm not putting raisins in this. So the recipe that's the dough that I've been following is a loaf of bread. But this here, I'm going to make cinnamon scrolls. So I want to pull this out into a nice big rectangle. Oops. Hang on, let's just flip it over. And what I think I will do is I think I'm going to fold that in half just to give the gluten a bit of a stretch. Okay, and I might do it one more time. Right. Perfect. Now I'm going to pull this out into a nice big rectangle. It is easier if you don't fold it out, but I just think it needed a need. Okay. Now you can roll this out if you like with a rolling pin, or you can push it out with your hands. I do either depending on my mood of the day. Today I just feel like pushing it out. And I want to do nice thin layer so I can get more scrolls, more rolls in my scrolls. Okay. And I want to be able to get 12 scrolls, and so anyway, I'll show you what I'm going to do when I get there. So this recipe, this sourdough discard recipe, this sweet dough makes these scrolls are delicious. And I'm very glad that I thought to try this one because I was just, going through the recipes on, like I Googled recipes on the internet for the sourdough discard cinnamon scrolls, and I just wasn't happy, so I'm glad that I thought to try this one. Okay, oops, that bit of butter didn't mix through. So we're just going to spread this out, and this is why I mix the butter in, just to give it a more spready texture. Hang on. I've got stuff in the oven, I'm going to have to go and check it. Oh yeah, doing a few things today. So I'm going to spread it out nearly all the way to the edges. And I'm going to get a knife to do this because that's driving me nuts, that collar there that stops the blade, the thing falling into your Thermomix and touching the blades. So how many of you knew that this collar here was so when you were using your Thermomix and it was going, you could put that in there and it would stop. That will stop the spatula from touching the blades. So that's the right length. So this is why this is the only spatula you should use in your Thermomix. So I'm having a bit of trouble with my iPad here. It's nearly flat and it keeps switching off. So, okay, so we're gonna roll this up. And I've just left that bit with no filling on it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some water and just wet it. And look, I'm splashing water on my mat here so that it sticks. Okay. Give it a pinch. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to divide this into 12. So when you're using your Thermomat, don't use a blade on it. You can cut it and then you ruin your mat. So what we're going to do is we're going to, this is my usual, I want 12. So math says I'm going to cut it into 4. And then in each of those into 3. And I'm going to just stretch it out a bit like that. And then fluff it up like, you know, because I'm squashing it, rightio. And then put them on this mat, on this tray. So, now this doesn't make them, you know, perfectly the same size, but it definitely improves my chances of getting them to come out the same size. Okay. And so if I do that, like, and just lengthen that a little bit, yeah, it makes it a bit easier as well. Oops. And I just want to open those, like, you know, open that up so that it goes back to a scroll. I'll show you, like, because I'm squashing that. So if we just okay, perfect. And now we're going to leave them to rise for just until they're all touching. Like that. And then we'll pop them in the oven. And I will bake them at no 30 minutes. Oh no 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 40 to 45 minutes. Now they won't need that long. They'll be lucky if they need 20 minutes. And so that's at about 175 degrees Celsius. But I'll be back when these are ready to go in the oven. I'll show you. So they're all touching each other nicely. So I'm going to pop, and I've got the oven preheated. So I'm going to pop them in the oven, and then we're going to move on, and we're going to make the cream cheese icing that goes on top. So I'll just throw these in the oven. I'll set my timer for 15 minutes because I will check them at that point. And we're going to make, and this is the one I've been making, and I absolutely love it. And it is, if I go to, oh, maybe not, let's go to, I'm going to do a half recipe. So my week, I'm pretty sure I have saved this to my week when I was working out what I was cooking yesterday, but I may not have. And I haven't sorted it out because I've still got, oh, there it is. Because I've still got stuff in there that I'm not cooking, that because I was just throwing everything in that I might cook this weekend while I was doing a bit of menu planning, and I haven't sorted out my week yet. Rightio. So I'm going to do a half batch. It's the full batch is just too much for a single tray of cream cheese of cinnamon scrolls. So let's start cooking. Okay, so let's pull this out and have a look. So we want, now you can, I'm just going to do it in my head. I mean, we want to start off with 125 grams, sorry, I'm just doing that wrong, of cream cheese. Okay. What's going on here? They've changed the packaging on this. Okay. Now I've had this sitting out at room temperature. You don't need to. Well, it's not at room temperature. I've had it sitting out, coming to room temperature. It's not that. You don't need to, because I'm going to just pop this back in the fridge while we're waiting for the scrolls to cool. So if I just cut that in half and plop that in there, that is 118. So I need a spatula. Right. 125. And that should be enough. in the fridge. For use at a later time. Okay. Now 180 grams of butter, so that's 90 grams of butter chopped into pieces. So we only want 90 grams. This might be 90 grams. 85. That's 93. Okay, I'm not going to put that in the mix. So now I've got buttery fingers. Now we want pure icing sugar. So pure icing sugar is it's just sugar, like sugar made into icing sugar. It's got no additives to make it not clump or to mix better or make a smoother icing. It's just icing sugar ground up into, it's just white sugar ground up into icing sugar. So it's 330, so that's 150, 165 grams. Oh, I don't want to... So if you've got, obviously if you're watching this, you're either interested in buying a Thermomix or you own a Thermomix. Pure icing sugar, that's the icing sugar you make when you mill sugar down to icing sugar. Next, yes, a teaspoon of natural vanilla extract. I like vanilla in my cream cheese icing. And it's this easy. I'm going to put the lid on, 50 seconds, speed 5. Okay, so that's 50 seconds. Next, so spread icing onto completely cooled, whatever you're putting it on, cakes, cookies, cupcakes, yeah. I'm using it on scrolls. And then refrigerate until ready to serve. So now, because I have 2 Thermomix bowls, I can actually just leave this in here in the fridge until I'm ready. But I am going to transfer it into another bowl. So I can give this a wash out. Rightio, I'll be back when we're ready to put icing on our scrolls and give them a taste. So these are still slightly warm. And I've left them in the tray. So that when I pour the icing on, it's not going to drip all the way through. So, and this, because they're slightly warm, the icing will melt into them a bit better. Oops. I should have thought about that a bit more. And this is a half batch of cream cheese icing. Because we don't want it I don't want them like absolutely smothered in the icing. It just makes it I find it's just too sweet. But the half batch gives us a nice gloss of icing. That is enough to, yeah. So you've got icing, but it's not. Right. Oh yeah, let's see. Oops, I've got icing all over me. Yum, I can't wait. That is warm and so soft, and I love how you can unscroll them and eat them like that. So the bread is so soft, and it's just got a bit of a sweetness to it, but you get that real sourdough twang. So my new favourite cinnamon scroll recipe, and I love how easy the cream cheese icing is. Rightio. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, could you please give it a thumbs up, pop over to my channel and subscribe, and I really hope I'll see you next time.